Welcome to the WHHI-TV Daily News Weekend Edition. I'm Betsy McDaniel. We've got a packed show for you today, and after a quick break, we're going to chat with Rotary International, so don't go away. Thank you for staying with us here on the WHHI-TV Daily News. From the Sunset Rotary, JMAbboud has joined me today, and we're going to learn a little bit about you first. It's good to see you again. It's been a little while since you and I have chatted.
Yes, it has. Almost a year now.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. So tell us a little bit about your background before we jump into Rotary.
Well, I'm a civil engineer by education. I went to the University of Nebraska. I have an MBA from Pepperdine University, that's in Malibu, California. And I also have, I'm a graduate of the Advanced Management Program at Harvard University.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got a...
Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was a petroleum engineer for 40 years. Enjoyed it all. I started out as a project engineer and finished my career as a chief operating officer for a mid-sized petroleum company in the West Coast.
And so what brought you here? All the way on to the East Coast.
Grandchildren.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
That's a very good reason.
Yeah. Our first batch of grandchildren were in Colorado, and so we spent 30 years in California, 20 years in Colorado, and now here for our last grandchildren.
Excellent. Well, so nice to have grandparents around the grandchildren as they're growing up. It's great. So let's now jump over to Rotary and tell us a little bit about Rotary in general, Rotary International.
Rotary International was started in 1905 by a fellow by the name of Paul Harris. He did this to try to bring businesses together. That was the primary reason for forming the Rotary Club. And then they thought about service to the community. And that evolved into what we're now over 20,000 Rotary clubs with over 1 million members throughout the country. And one of the primary focuses of Rotary International has been polio eradication.
Yes.
They started that in 1979 in the Philippine Islands and assisted getting everyone on the islands vaccinated, and since then have spread it throughout the world. And Rotary is the primary driver of polio vaccinations with the help of the Gates Foundation. There's many other things that Rotary International does. One of the real specialties is water projects.
Okay. Clean
water all throughout the emerging countries, particularly in Africa and South America, India, places like that. So Rotary has been a big world player in charities and primarily service.
Well, very interesting that it started kind of as, like you said, a business networking opportunity, then to community outreach, and then really global outreach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened. In fact, an interesting thing is when Rotary first started, because it was business oriented, they would only allow one member from each of the various business communities. Okay. As an example, if you were a bread maker and you were already part of the club, and I'm a bread maker, owned a bread business and tried to join the club back then, no, we already have that business covered.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit in our last minute and a half or so about the student exchange program that you have as well.
That program was started a number of years ago, and it just is to foster international relations. Each individual club is able to sponsor an exchange student if they choose. But in order to sponsor an exchange student, you have to have an exchange student from another country come into your club.
Okay.
So you're responsible for that exchange student. And what it does is it gives the youth an opportunity to see what the world is like, and that people really aren't very different from one country to another,
right.
In spite of the leadership.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting. And so I just want to circle back to your club in particular, as maybe just give us a year-end update. I know you just went through your mini golf tournament, and you've also done some shoe drives for both adults and children. So just give us a little recap of how those went.
Went very well. Our mini golf tournament raised over $20,000, which primarily went to the Children's Center.
Yeah.
And that's locally here on the island, you know
Right.
where that is.
Yes.
And also Backpack Buddies.
Two great programs.
Two great programs. We donated $7,000 to each one of those programs. We've been partnering with them for about 5 years now, and that's been very good. The other program you mentioned was our Happy Feet. We do that at the Children's Center, where we provide shoes for all the kids over there, and they vary from 2 months old up to 6 years.
Yeah.
And that's a fun program.
Yeah. Well, John, thank you for being here today, for sharing all that great information about Rotary's history. It was fascinating, and thank you for everything you're doing in the community.
And thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Bye now.
Good to see you again. Coming up after a quick break, Bob Stevens chats with Tom Davis. Don't go away.